This is an alert of the podcast delivery system. No action is needed, except to listen and enjoy.
Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the gnome train.
Woo! Chugga, 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 woo!
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
Hello, Internet. It is Frazley the Awesome Gnome. Each week, I am joined by awesome people from Azeroth and beyond. This is episode 75, the Podcasting Paladin. On this episode, we explore Medros' podcasting history, we talk about Morhaime's change of position at Blizzard, we peruse the BlizzCon schedule, and more. Let's use my customized ultra-safe transporter to head on over to meet up with this week's guests. Live from the Smug Harbor Inn. Tonight I am joined by Medros of All Things Azeroth.
Hey, how's it going?
Going great. All Things Azeroth was my first WoW podcast guesting opportunity.
We were honored to have you.
Once I got the podcasting bug, it's been hard to shut me up ever since.
That seems to be the case for about 50% of the guests we have.
So I can blame Medros?
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
I will take the blame.
And I've got Ali of Dungeon Fables.
Hey, what's up?
It's just a nice night. Tomorrow's Friday. Okay, no singing.
No.
Well, since we don't have any singing, Epicinsanity, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently?
Just been working on my characters in WoW, polishing up my resume and stuff, trying to relax and not stress, enjoy life, enjoy the game, which can be hard to do sometimes.
Yes.
But it's a good expansion. I'm enjoying it so far and looking forward to more stories.
Awesome. And it's hard to remember that it's a game. It's hard to remember sometimes that at the end of the day, life's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And Ali, what have you been up to?
Well, I started a new job this week, which is always, change is scary and draining and tiring. That aside, just normal, island expeditions. My group's going through Old Deer Normal, farming stupid anchorweed forever and getting barely any. But it's been a pretty good week.
Is it right that when you see it, it's like above you and you're like, oh, there's where it is?
No, well, none that I've seen, actually. But what ends up happening is you see it in the distance. You're like, oh my god, it's there. So you go straight for it. And then it phases out because it's probably been tapped already by, 5 people. And then you hate life because it's really hard to come by.
And how far are you in All Deer?
5 bosses, finally.
Nice.
We're struggling a little bit on Zul because it has a lot of ads to manage and stuff. But we're getting there. We're, being more of like a casual, open raid guild kind of thing. It's not so much, hardcore progression. We just do our best. So yeah, it's going pretty well. And we cleared Heroic Talic, so that's cool.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a really fun raid. I'm pretty happy with it.
That's awesome. I still need to go into LFR. I've been meaning to do that.
Do it. I'll go with you. I'll heal. You'll have an easy queue. I'll be fine.
Okay, yes, let's do it. And I finished my final and I passed. So I was so stressed out on this because it's like the final, everything is resting on it. I passed, so glad that's over. Now I'm working on marketing and communications and learning about digital mediums. It's fun though when you're reading this textbook and it's talking about how pay-per-click and ads are the new way. I'm like, no, those are going down in revenue now. But textbooks are always behind the times. I've seen about mainframes. The only way we have to flip the cloud. Anyway, I got my sausage hat. That's awesome. And I'm working on more story quests, achievements, and rep. Just kind of want to get Pathfinder and hopefully get that ready to go. And today, I got my World of Podcast shirt. Woo-hoo. And you know what that means? It's time for the World of Podcast shirt song. We're on a shirt.
We're on a shirt.
We're on a shirt.
We're on a shirt. Take a good long look at the names on the shirt.
Everybody look at us because we t-shirtin'.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah! I like making songs. I can't say I'm good at it. But yeah, so I'm excited. Got everybody's on the back of my shirt. Hard to see on camera.
It worked.
It was so cool seeing the shirt. Like, I know that name. Wow. Zia, great job on the shirt. Feels amazing to see this shirt with so many people. I'm excited. I'm gonna wear this and wear this and wear this. So I'll make sure to wash it though.
I was hoping to get mine, and I don't know if it's because I'm west of you, but yeah. I'll have it by the panel. I was hoping to have it by tonight, but that's okay.
It'll probably be tomorrow. That's how it always is.
Probably, yeah.
Always a day late and $1 short.
Yeah.
As long as I have by the panel, that's the big deal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is the 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll make sure to be there.
You better be there.
Yes.
Medros might hurt you, and I'll help him.
Ow. Uncle. Well, one thing that I always love to do on the show is learn more about people. You have been podcasting for like forever. I mean, you're like to me, like the godfather of podcasting. I mean, you've been around since like the WoW radio days. I remember listening to you, finding WoW radio, listening to the people on there. And I mean, that was like before podcasts. It was so cool to listen. And then I opened up my app in 2016. I look through things. I see Medros. I see all things Azeroth. You're still around. I'm like, I mean, it made me so glad to know that you were still around, even though I had left WoW for a little bit. How did you get into WoW?
The answer to that question kind of goes into the explanation of my name. Back probably 2002 or so, I was playing a game called World of Pirates, which was a complete ripoff of Sid Meier's Pirates game. It was basically you chose a Caribbean country. In the era of pirates, there was Spain, there was Holland, there was all these countries. And when I started playing, the friend who invited me to play, his group was at that time playing for the Spanish nation. And I was thoroughly uncreative and thought, well, what's the Spanish name? Oh, Pedro. Okay, well, Pedros is taken. I will just change it to an M for whatever reason. And that's what led me to my name. And then the same friend knew that I really enjoyed playing Warcraft. So about a year later, he mentioned that he'd heard something online or read something that Blizzard, who had just released Warcraft 3, had been working on a MMO version. And he had told me that the beta signups had opened up. So I went home and I signed up for the beta. The first beta I'd ever signed up for in my lifetime. I got into the beta, played a paladin wearing leather and cloth because I needed int, and that was the stuff that had it. So I wore that and died a lot. I think I still have pictures of my paladin from around then. It was quite funny fighting in Westfall wearing leather and cloth. And then near the end of the beta, it was like September or maybe October of 2004. I saw a guy on the forums who was talking about starting a radio station. I knew that I was going to be playing WoW. There was no question in my mind about that at all. You know, I'd only played it for a few weeks, but I was in love with the game. If you look at the art we have now in Battle for Azeroth, the art is spectacular. If you look at Elwyn Forest, that was kind of the level of art back then, and I'm kind of wondering how much improvement they're going to be doing to the art for WoW Classic when they launch it.
Yeah. Looking
back, it was pretty crude art by today's standards, but by that standards, it was the most visually stunning game I'd ever seen. So I messaged this Atlas guy back. I was staff number 2 at WoW Radio. When WoW launched, we were doing a broadcast. We were talking to people who were out at the Fry's in Fountain View, California for the launch event. And if you watched any of the documentaries talking to Blizzard people about that launch, we only heard the audio and descriptions of people, but it was an incredible experience, even hearing that audio. And from the description of people who were actually there in video of that launch event, it was a mind-blowing experience. I only wish I could have been there for that event, on the ground in Fountain View, and seeing the insanity that was the release of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I remember seeing some of the video from that time. And you're right, the graphics and just in this world that is so large and people are there with you. It was kind of, to me, unheard of in a 3D game like this.
Yeah. I mean, like if you see like some of the comparison videos to, you know, WoW character models 2004 versus what we got even in 2014 when they redid the character models, they're significantly different visually. Tauren, Night Elves, everything. Seeing a split screen of like Goldshire, this half is from 2014, this half is from 2018. You know, even that is just a very different visual than what we have now. And it's incredible to see the change in the game.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the art and it's only gotten better.
And you brought the fact, you know, wondering what's going to happen to Classic. Like, what do you think is going to happen to Classic? Are they going to go back to the classic art and keep true to form? Or are they going to go with the updated art?
Well, Ali, I'd like to save that for a Con Before the Storm event, because that's one of the topics I have.
Oh, hey, okay.
But I will simply say that I am not a fan of the idea of WoW Classic.
Heard that.
So I would like to see it be exactly what it was on the day of the 1.12 release patch.
Yeah.
I would like to be the day of vanilla release, to be honest. Just to give those people who have been begging and pleading for this content exactly what they want, which is their vanilla days as it was day of launch.
Yes.
But they're not going to do that. So
I was looking at what was added in the patches, and it's like even meeting stones weren't added until a certain patch. I was like, wow, so much was not there.
The game has changed so significantly since vanilla, even through vanilla. Like, we talk these days about the content taking so long, but we had vanilla for a very, very long time. It was 2.5 years or so, 2.25 years, and they did a lot of releases in that time. Like, there was class patches, a mage patch, a warlock patch. When vanilla launched, when you hit max level, you got no gold for your quests. That XP was just lost.
Yeah.
That was introduced in a patch because people were like, hey, I'm level 60, and unless I raid or do dungeons, I'm broke. And Blizzard were like, oh, yeah, we should do something about that.
Let's give you gold.
And now we do that. Now, at the end of every expansion, when you hit max level, your quest XP is turned into gold. You get gold for stuff. But they didn't consider that in the original. Like, they didn't consider, hey, what's going to happen when people hit max level? Because they didn't have a concept of what was going to happen down the road. 60 levels seemed like a long time for them. But they didn't realize or didn't think to, oh, we're going to have this game out for 14 years now. It will likely hit 20 years before there's significant decline in anything to do with this game. That's a long time.
Yeah. I can't think of what I'm still doing 20 years later. I mean,
I started my podcast in my 20s. I am now in my 40s. Like, that is a time, man. That is a time.
So how did you get from WoW Radio to podcasting?
So after WoW Radio, I kind of saw my end with WoW Radio coming a little bit down the road. So I've been talking to another organization called MMO Radio, and I joined them for a time, but their organization just wasn't a fit for me. We had sponsorships from certain gaming companies to promote certain games, and we were given beta access to these games and free game time for the games, but we were given those with the understanding we weren't going to say anything negative about the games. Frazley, we were talking in the ATA Discord the other day about Matrix Online.
Yeah.
We got access to that shortly before it was supposed to release, and it was bad.
Yeah.
It was a horrible game, lots of bugs, texture issues. There was all kinds of problems with the game. And we were told we couldn't say anything about these. And I'm like, okay, well, I appreciate the access to the game. I won't say anything about the game, but I have no ability to keep playing this game because I can't play a game and talk positively about a game that is this bad.
Yeah.
And that led to a meeting with the executives asking why I wasn't being a team player and all the kind of crap that I was unwilling to put up with. So it was not surprising to me when my show got canceled from there. That was, I think, in 2006 sometime, probably early 2006, I think. I don't remember the exact timelines for that. You're asking me to go back a little too far, man. It was good to have a break between WoW Radio and MMO Radio time and then starting ATA. But while I was with WoW Radio, I joined a guild called the Shadow Walkers on Argent Dawn. And while I was still with WoW Radio, I was able to use the stream that we had to do DJing of music for RP events in the game. Like, we had a formal-ish event in one of the rooms off of Stormwind Keep where it was kind of a formal dance party and stuff like that. It was really neat. It was a really neat event. And I got the ability to use our stream to do music for that. It really let me really dig deeper into the RP community, which is what I was looking for at the time. When WoW Radio started, we were all told we should make characters on the same server, and the vote unanimously was Medros, which is a PvP server. That character still has never left Desolus since I got ganked 6 times in a row by Tauren Shaman. Like, literally, it's sitting by a mailbox naked in Desolus. I never left. I re-rolled on Argent Dawn the next day and never looked back. Yeah. I think I still got like 500 gold just sitting there doing nothing. About November or so, 2006, my guild leader asked me if he could talk to me in Ventrilo, for those who still remember that application.
Yes.
So we went to the private officers chat. I think at the time I was a recruiting officer or something, which is a horrible idea. He was like, so how are you feeling about the audio space? And I was like, well, I mean, I tried a couple of stations. They didn't quite work out how I would have liked. They really didn't like my ideas and stuff. Now, going back to WoW Radio, about the end of year one at WoW Radio, we started talking about putting files up for download. And I had been very adamant of, well, there's this new thing called RSS. It's getting a lot of pickup. We can do this podcasting thing. At this time, it was so new. And the staff was like, well, we want to kind of do our show notes at the same time. We want to package this up into a zip file and offer it to listeners that way. However, that's not podcasting. They failed to see that putting files up for download is not the same as making them easily available for listening. I kind of felt like WoW Radio at the time, and they did eventually move over to a podcasting model, which I was very happy about. They actually did RSS properly, did things like they should have done in the beginning. I don't know who the impetus was for that, but it was very good to see them do that eventually. But I felt like an actual WoW podcast could get a lot of pickup. And at the time, I did not know about Starman's podcast, World of Warcast.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the instance at the time, though. After I launched my own show, All Things Azeroth, I did find those and listen to those and recall very, very vividly listening to archives of the instance where they were forced to change the name of their guild from I Eat Babies to Aleak Est, and listening to other WoW podcasts that started in the time where they were, starting to get their legs and starting to get the feel for what they were going to do and how they were going to do their content, what it was all going to be. So it was really good to see how that all would progress and evolve to become what we have now, which is an absolutely incredible audience and community of podcasts. And I mean, I've talked to Ro a few times, and he looks back at those days of there being only just a few podcasts to the explosion of podcasts we've had at times where there's 10 or 20 new podcasts in a month starting up. And I go back to some of the early days of my own podcasting, where people were talking about do 10 episodes that you never aired to get your feet under you and see if there's something you actually want to do. Then decide if you want to do the podcast as something you actually start releasing. Because then after 10 episodes, you get better. You get all your wrinkles out. And I would like to say episode 1 of ATA, do not recommend the first 10 episodes of that show. They are painful even for me to listen to. But I would personally say from episode 100 on is probably your better bet for ATA. Pretty rough back in those days.
I know what you mean. I'm thinking about, you're still learning, you're still finding yourself. I had somebody tell me that a year later, they feel like I'm finally finding my voice. And I feel that way. I feel like I'm finally figuring out who I am. And it takes a lot. And I like your idea of the 10, because even if you do release them, you see if there's enough content there to keep you there every single week.
One of the things that I've told every single person who's asked me for my advice on podcasting is podcast your passion. If you are not passionate about what you're talking about, it will come through.
Yeah. If
you're doing podcasting for money, for fame, for notoriety, for any of those reasons, just don't. This isn't the medium for you. Or become a really, really good actor, because people will notice. When I've had shows where my interest level is not there, it is very noticeable, and people ask me about it almost every time. Absolutely recommend that people do their best to be passionate, be interested, and be invested in their content.
Absolutely. I tell myself, if I don't like listening to what I produce, then why would anybody else like it?
Yeah. I'm passionate about WoW.
Yeah.
I've been doing this now 13 years.
I admire you for that.
Well, I mean, ATA started in 2007. It's been going for a long time, doing WoW Radio and MMO Radio before that. Back a few months ago, I was forced to remember some of the days where we would have, an 8 to 12 hour minimum downtime window. And me and TB were doing Downtime Down Under, which never really made any sense, but that was kind of what we came up with. And we were just doing music and chatting with the audience while I was in downtime. That was how I spent my Tuesday mornings. He would do the early stuff because he was in the UK, and then I would pick up and do the rest of the day until servers came out.
And one passion that I know that I've seen you have is you are an avid Pokemon Go player.
That is correct. I am level 40 in Pokemon Go.
Nice.
Yeah, I hit that back in January, just the day after Kyogre was released. And I am, at this point, pretty close to double 40 at this point.
Nice.
And I mean, I haven't really even fought for that. It's just been with the friendship system. It has become so easy to gain XP so much. It's so incredibly easy. 38,301,837 XP in Pokemon Go.
Wow.
And I have 3 best friends.
Nice.
And a whole lot of ultra friends. Those are far easier to get.
One person who always talks about friends has to absolutely be Mike Morhaime.
He does talk about relationships a lot, yeah.
So I was on the CTR Discord and I saw that Zephyriah mentioned the news from Blizzard that Mike Morhaime has stepped down as the president of Activision Blizzard, or not Activision Blizzard, Blizzard Entertainment, right?
Yeah,
I get that confused. So there's a president of Activision Blizzard.
Yes, Blizzard is a subsidiary of Activision Blizzard, part of the purchase of Blizzard from...
Vivendi?
Vivendi, yes. Vivendi sold it to Activision. The overarching company became Activision Blizzard because they realized that while Call of Duty is a popular game, Blizzard brings in the most money out of the entire company. So they named Activision Blizzard, but Blizzard's a subsidiary of that company that is basically left alone to do its thing.
So Mike Morhaime has stepped down as president, and I've been hearing all the hype and panic and stuff like that. But someone that I trust has said that it is all good for people involved. And right after, there was a message from Mike Morhaime and Jay Allenbrack, because Jay Allenbrack has taken the spot of Mike Morhaime. I saw this message posted by Thist on Lagging Balls. They saw an interesting thing in the news that Alan Adham, Blizzard's original founder and lead designer of World of Warcraft, will join the executive team while contributing to oversee development of several new games. I think a lot of us have seen that Blizzard can't be looking at just here. They're looking to the future. And any company that wants to keep innovating will be looking to the future. But that is interesting that they chose to reveal now, hey, there's new stuff coming.
It makes sense, though, because ever since it got announced, some people are like, okay, cool, Blizzard's fine. And other people are like, oh my God, this is the end of Blizzard. Everything's wrong. So it makes sense that they put it out now. So it proves like nothing's wrong. We're doing fine, guys. Calm. It's okay.
Yeah, I think they definitely wanted to get that out before BlizzCon to make sure that this wasn't going to be a BlizzCon shocker. And I really feel like the announcement of Overwatch back a few years was definitely a major thing for them. It was their first new world in a long time. And I feel like they really wanted to do everything they could to make that be not a one-off. So I think that they have been working on something new for Diablo, which that was evident from the job postings they've had over the last couple of years. And I think we're going to hear what that is at BlizzCon this year.
For sure.
I also feel like they're working on other new worlds, other new content, which is pretty impressive. I mean, they went from a very static 3 worlds to now having 6 in the span of 4 years, 5 years? Like they launched Hearthstone, Heroes, and Overwatch, which is pretty incredible for their fans. And I think that within the next 5 years, we could definitely see that adding another 3 games to that as well, or even more. Alan Adham was one of the founders of Silicon and Synapse, the precursor to Blizzard Entertainment. The fact that he's working on new stuff is definitely a good sign for people who want to see more out of Blizzard. And I think that what we've seen so far from the folks in Blizzard for the content that we have definitely shows us they can create some really incredible stuff that really pushes the limits. And there's only a few spaces they haven't really entered yet, but every game type they release is going to change that type of game, that market. So whatever they work on next, I feel bad for whoever's in that market.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said that back when Overwatch was released. Anybody who's in that market, they should really be worried. The extreme explosion of Overwatch in popularity has definitely shown that.
Like, it was amazing. I was listening to the Jules Realm Maintenance, and Jules was saying how esports is now a thing that we can cover, and that even a couple years ago wasn't quite the same way. And it's because Blizzard has changed even esports with the Overwatch League. I can't tell you how many people that I know who aren't geeks knew about Overwatch League. I wore my Fusion shirt and they're like, that's Overwatch. I'm like, how did you know?
People who are not gamers have been drawn into Overwatch. So that's really great for me to see. Like my goddaughter who tried WoW, didn't really like it. She plays Overwatch with her friends fairly often. So that's awesome for me to see. I love to see that Blizzard is reaching new audiences. And yes, I'm sure that in Korea, esports were far more of a thing because that's where StarCraft exploded, and it had an esports scene for years and decades before Overwatch. But I think that Overwatch has really exploded the esports scene in America and Canada and other places where it didn't have as steady of a base. So it's good to hear. And I'm confident that J. Allen Brack, he was the executive producer of WoW for years. He will be a good president for Blizzard. He will be a good shepherd for the company, I think.
The only thing that felt weird, it's just, I think we all feel this, is it seems sudden.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
But that's not surprising. Overwatch seems sudden too.
Yeah, that is true.
Everything seems sudden until you actually see it happen.
But it makes sense, though. I mean, you were talking, Medros, about how, it's good they got this up before BlizzCon. That's just it. They probably were waiting for to get all their stuff sorted before they told the public. And it's better to get that out before BlizzCon. So in case Mike Morhaime's knocking on the stage and saying hi to everyone, we know why and what's going on.
Yeah, and it puts the focus now on what's to come.
Yeah.
And even Metzen felt sudden when it happened. It felt like what happened. And in the same way that Metzen has let new breath go into WoW, I feel like Morhaime stepping back gives somebody else a chance now, because Morhaime's not stepping away from Blizzard. They're stepping down to an advisor role. They're letting somebody new try something. And sometimes it is nice to get a fresh perspective on things. J. Allen Brack's been here for a while, so it's not like we're getting from the outside. We have somebody who's been there, learn from Morhaime.
The company is very clearly moving into a next era. Even over the last couple of years, J. Allen Brack has taken over more of the announcement stuff at BlizzCon. For me, as a person who's watched BlizzCon every year, it wouldn't be surprising to see J. Allen Brack give more. But if Mike Morhaime was not there at all, it definitely would be, what's going on here? So yeah, I'm really glad they got this out ahead of time, got ahead of any potential negative reaction. And now we can go into BlizzCon prepared. Oh, if we don't see Mike Morhaime there, okay, well, he's only an advisor now. I kind of think he may still want to do one. As you know, I've stepped down as president. I'm now as an advisor. Here's the new president of Blizzard Entertainment, J. Allen Brack. I'd like to see a visual at BlizzCon handover of that baton.
Yeah, and it would ease a lot of the fears I think we have.
It would be nice. I know a lot of us were hoping for Metzen that would happen, because that was pretty big news, and we were all hoping he'd come back just one more time, and he didn't. But I mean, this is not just one game; it's all of Blizzard. And it's so close to BlizzCon, that really would be a nice symbolic gesture of the passing of the baton.
For Metzen, I think the reason that felt sudden is because I think it was sudden. Mm-hmm. I think that there was medical reasons for his departure that he's spoken of since then that very much made it this can't be a we have to wait to BlizzCon thing. This is a I have to be done now kind of thing. For the sake of my own health and my future, he and Kat had just had a child. And even since then, he's had some medical stuff that he's talked about on Facebook and stuff. So as sad as I am to see Metzen have gone from Blizzard, I think it's a good thing overall.
And now that BlizzCon's coming up, we got the schedule the day before, which is also pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's a schedule, all right.
Yes. It kind of reveals a little bit of, some potential news coming out.
Yes. So Diablo's the first thing after keynotes. So pretty much that means we're going to get a big Diablo announcement.
That is generally how we end up seeing things go, yeah.
And WoW's at the end, which it makes sense. I mean, WoW's gotten expansion. We got a live stream and an AMA. So really, there's not much we have to really give WoW. And then there's also the Diablo World. No, there's the World of Diablo panel on Saturday.
Correction, it is actually Diablo World and Q&A.
Ooh.
It's something that I noticed when I was looking at things on my phone, and I'm like, Diablo World. That sounds like a game title to me.
That does.
And I've been expecting a Diablo title out for a while now. So, is it possible somebody left in a typo of the new game?
Maybe. But what they call it Diablo World, though? I mean, because we have World of Warcraft.
I don't know. And that's a very good point, Ali. The conspiracy theorist in my head is thinking, first off, the question in my head is, could Blizzard do 2 MMOs at once? And the answer I have is absolutely.
Yeah.
They were working on Titan as a second MMO.
Yeah.
That failed not because of the MMO model failure. That failed because of organizational structure. So I absolutely feel like a second MMO in the world of Sanctuary is entirely possible. And I'm really hoping I can have somebody from the Shatter Soulstone podcast on my streaming that I'm going to do for BlizzCon during that Q&A and during the opening ceremonies, because I want them to have something to talk about.
Yes.
2 years now in a row, we have had no Diablo talk. There's been a couple of panels about, hey, we're not really doing nothing. Here's another patch. My last time at BlizzCon was, oh, here's a Necromancer. Have fun. And here's a coin for playing it. Diablo has been very dry of news for far too long in BlizzCon world. So I think that the fans of Sanctuary could definitely use a major announcement of some new title that gives them something to hope for.
Well, plus, during those 2 years where we weren't getting any news, think about what's been going on behind the scenes. Not only have we seen these job openings, but they've been moving big names to a secret project.
Yes.
And if they're doing an MMO, it would take big names for that kind of project. So, like you said, it's definitely doable. I think it'd be really cool.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You know, I look up at my Diablo 3 and Diablo 3 Reaper Souls Collector's Editions, and I'm thinking, you know, they look really lonesome up there. They could use a new title on that shelf. And I can't say that I would play a lot of a Diablo MMO, personally, because, wow, that would be definitely a segment of their fan base that would definitely split off from other games they're playing currently if there was real content for Diablo, not just new seasons.
Yeah.
I could see Diablo World being more hardcore, and the same way that Bloodborne, Dark Souls, because Diablo is a dark world, but I could also see it being punishingly hard. And I think that there are people that are clamoring for a hard MMO.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not one of them.
Me either.
I feel current Diablo non-hardcore is just fine for me, but there's definitely people who are looking for that.
And the fact that Diablo has its different difficulties, it would be perfect to have even difficulty realms. You go to the hardcore realm.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the beauties of it is it can be that nice, mindless, fun game, but you can also go into the higher stuff. So I think they can definitely adapt that for an MMO easily.
There's definitely calls back when WoW was leading up to release of looking for like a hardcore server or type of server. And Blizzard was just like, not really what we're looking for in this game. The fact that there's a hardcore mode in Diablo 3 shows that there are definitely a group of the player base of Diablo who are looking for something that's a little more deep, a little more hard, a little more depth to it.
And the fact that Classic is going to be kind of another MMO along with, so you have WoW, you have Classic, and you have Diablo. I could see them giving you a bigger sub. You pay a smaller sub per each MMO, or you pay one bigger sub and you get all the MMOs.
Hey, as long as WoW Classic has its own subscription, separate from World of Warcraft, I am perfectly fine with whatever subscription model they do. I will talk more about that on another podcast in a few weeks.
That's good.
And on many episodes of my podcast in the past.
Yes.
Yes. And we've talked about the Classic quite a bit. It is interesting that there's a Classic panel. It seems like either they're going to do some more theory crafting or we're getting closer. I mean,
Well, the fact that there's a beta coming out that we get to play, like that's closer than I think anyone ever expected for sure.
And I mean, it's not that far off if you look at it, what they've had for other expansions for WoW at BlizzCon, where new zones were playable there.
Yeah.
Yes, we're only getting one zone for each faction in WoW Classic, but that is not an indicator in any way, shape, or form of what we're going to see out of WoW Classic and the timeline they're on, because we've seen, like, when I was playing Demon Hunters at BlizzCon up in the press room, the content we had there was almost identical to what we had in release.
Right.
So the idea of, just because we only see a small little fragment of what they're giving, what they have done at the con, that is not in any way, shape, or form an indicator of the content not being complete. That just means that that's what they want to show us. That's all the indicator it is.
Yeah.
Which far too many people have, including myself at times, have been like, well, we're only seeing this much. I'm worried about what it means for the actual release product. How long is this going to take?
Right.
That's just thoughts, thinking back to previous BlizzCons and what we saw there.
So Ro was looking at the schedule and says there's an hour-long gap on the main stage on Friday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Could just be scheduling, or it could be that there's some big reveal coming at BlizzCon.
Diablo. It's got to be. I think all of the signs point to it. And I mean, I do think we're going to get some kind of mobile game announcement because they've been working on some mobile stuff. But I think that gap is going to be the big Diablo announcement.
Well, I mean, historically, they do the big announcement at the actual opening ceremonies, and then they're following up with the what's next. So that might be a deep dive into what's coming in this new title.
Right.
But, I mean, the cosplay exhibition starts at 7:30. The Heroes of the Storm What's Next ends at 7:15. So, I mean, I don't know that there's room there for something else, because they don't generally want to have stuff overlapping on the panels, especially like with the cosplay stuff, which is a big deal for Friday.
Right.
But yeah, if they're going to add something into that blank spot there, yeah, I would imagine probably a deep dive into whatever the Diablo thing is, assuming that we are not all seeing more into this than there actually is, which I don't think we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't know anything until the opening ceremonies. That's when all of our mobile apps will update with the updated schedule of whatever they're filling in there. But I really strongly remember the Overwatch year where there was that big chunk right after the opening ceremonies on the main stage where nobody knew what was going on, but there was something, and there were some covered computers on the show floor, and it was just, hype was crazy that year. Yeah. And I remember somebody tried to sneak into that area, and they tried to uncover one of those computers that had Overwatch, and they were escorted out.
Yeah. The fact that they thought they could get away with that is baffling to me.
You may have noticed that there are some people who don't have a lot of mental faculties that are in this community sometimes.
That's true.
And I mean, one person getting kicked out of BlizzCon may be worth that advanced peak, but they had major security around that area. Yeah. So there was no way that anybody was getting in there without being noticed.
Yeah.
And I would never want to try it. I would never get away with it. I'm 6'6". So
No, I think we need a Zeph sized person to do that, I think.
Yeah.
Not saying that Zeph is anywhere. Anyways, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna go there. I don't want to be facing the wrath of Zeph. So
she'll take you out.
Probably. I'm very good at doing that, apparently.
Not my wrath. I love you, Medros.
I appreciate that.
And I'm so excited that you are the moderator for our panel. When I saw that, I was like, somebody that I know, that I trust. I'm excited. But what panel or event are we most excited for beyond our panel, of course, the best panel at BlizzCon?
Yeah, of course.
What are we excited for?
I'm always a sucker for music and, the voiceovers and everything. And I think lately a lot more attention has been given to the voice actors. So I'm excited to hear from them and more about the music. Also, what's next for Heroes and WoW? I think it's going to be some good info, and I'm excited about so many things.
I'm going to say that I am hesitantly hopeful that the Overwatch voice actors panel will be as good as the first time they did one, not what they did last year. The first one they did, I was there for it, and it was hilarious. So imagine getting the voices of Tracer, McCree, Reinhardt, Winston, and all these other characters on a stage riffing off each other. That is the dream podcast for me.
Yeah.
Those who listen to ATA have heard, I'm sure, the legendary 2 to 3 hour episodes of Lore when we've had Shade on as a guest. That was this in a voice actor's form. Riffing off it, Darren DePaul brought out a bucket of candy that he had left over from Halloween a few days before, and he was just randomly throwing out handfuls of candy to the audience. It was a blast. It was awesome, and I really loved seeing it in person. Then they did the next year, and it was boring.
Yeah.
Like, it was very much more controlled, very much a more sedate atmosphere. They didn't broadcast the original one on the feeds because they still only just had the few stages that they had. And it was very disappointing to see the potential that there was in that first year just totally deflated in the second year. So I'm hoping this year's panel will be more like the first one. Whereas I feel like the second one, they were very much telling me, voice actors, that they have a schedule and they have a plan and they have a very set organization of the panel. So please, control yourselves and don't get off topic and don't cause us to go over. I felt like it was very structured and they didn't want to get out of that structure. And I felt for myself like that was a very big disappointment. So I am hesitantly hopeful that they will have heard the feedback from last year and will have more like the first year, because that was what made that panel so much fun the first year for so many people. And like the videos of that panel on YouTube have thousands and thousands of viewers. And that was one of the funnest panels I've ever seen in all of my time going to BlizzCon and covering BlizzCon on Dawnforge. Like, just so much fun. Other than that, I am interested to see what Diablo What's Next is going to be. The WoW What's Next is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so excited about Overwatch, Hearthstone, and Heroes because I'm sure that I can already predict kind of what we're going to see. We're going to see a new hero for Overwatch, a new hero for Heroes of the Storm,
Right.
maybe a couple Heroes of the Storm heroes, and a new addition somehow, maybe a pack or a adventure or something for Hearthstone. Those are fairly predictable at this point, other than, oh, yeah, cool. It's a new form of playing. You're doing a dungeon in Hearthstone. That's pretty cool. All right, next. But I don't play those games as much as I do WoW, and I haven't played nearly as much of any of those games as I have of Diablo in its time. I played all the way through to the end of Diablo and Diablo 2. So those have a lot more power to me. Overwatch, Heroes, and Hearthstone don't really have a story mode. One thing I do notice here is I'm not seeing a lot of StarCraft.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if this is kind of more of a what we're going to see, sort of where Diablo was a few years ago, where there's not much new coming, but maybe there's something they can add on later. That's kind of what I'm thinking is where we're at with the StarCraft stuff. But yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of StarCraft content here. So hopefully that will not be forgotten. Because, I mean, I don't play StarCraft very much. I play for the story, and that's a very limited game for StarCraft. But I do enjoy when all their franchises get some love. You know, when I'm looking at StarCraft stuff, I'm not seeing a lot of love here.
And I could see them maybe putting stuff in the StarCraft Pylon show, maybe giving them something to talk about. Or StarCraft Pylon talks about the esports that are happening.
Yeah, there's basically two panels. Both of them are on Saturday. One is a What's Next, and one is the Pylon show. That's pretty much the StarCraft stuff,
Right.
other than esports. And no doubt, StarCraft esports is a big deal. If I was doing a podcast live at BlizzCon on the BlizzCon stage and I, say, got a developer on my show, yeah, I'd feel I was doing pretty good.
Absolutely.
I imagine they'll have some developer stuff or some significant content there for the fans of StarCraft.
Do you think they'll ever come out with a new StarCraft game?
Yes, eventually, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it would be good.
It will likely have a long tail. I mean, StarCraft had, I think, 10 years where it was just StarCraft 1
Right.
before they brought out StarCraft 2. So I definitely think it'll be something like that. Like it'll be a long time before they bring out another title, unless they're planning to bring out a different kind of title, like a mobile game or something like that.
Right.
I mean, there's definitely ways I could see a StarCraft fitting into a mobile game.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more than Diablo, because I don't really see any way that Diablo can really feel like a good small screen experience. But then I thought Hearthstone wouldn't look very good on mobile either, and it doesn't look too bad. Not great, but it doesn't look too bad.
Right.
I do wish they would do more with several of their games in the mobile universe. Like I wish there was a WoW Pet Battles one.
Absolutely.
I think there's going to be eventually. I mean, there's been such a cry for that for a few years now.
I mean, there's been a cry for that since Pet Battles first came out, and that was, Wrath, I think?
Right, but now that they've actually are slowly venturing into the mobile sphere, I wouldn't be surprised if not at this BlizzCon, maybe by next BlizzCon, there's one that's live and steady and has a big following.
Well, I mean, they do have more in the mobile space. They have the WoW Companion app, but really the WoW Companion app is not much more evolved from the original Legion Companion app, which, don't get me wrong, that was pretty impressive for the time, because we'd all been asking pretty much since Warlords for a mobile way to manage our garrisons. Yeah. The fact that we had a mobile way to do that in Legion was really great. I don't see the current app being an evolution of that, but yes, they do seem to be moving more towards mobile stuff. A lot of their job postings have mentioned mobile. So there's definitely more potential there for mobile to be a way they can move towards that. And a Pet Battles one would definitely be well received.
Diablo World, that just keeps screaming to me like mobile.
Yeah. I would need to see their implementation to see if I can envision that. Like I said, right now I can't really envision a Diablo mobile experience, but this is Blizzard and they can do stuff that I can't envision. So just because I can't picture it doesn't mean it's not possible.
There's one mobile game I play once in a while. It's called Eternium. It's very much Diablo-esque. And to do the different moves, you swipe in a different way, like in a V style or like a circle or whatever. But like everything else about it, the clicking to make it go forward or the bank system, the, reforging system, all that is dead on Diablo. If anyone could improve on that and make it quality Diablo, it would be Blizzard. it makes me feel like it's doable. I don't think the next Diablo title is going to be on mobile, but I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we get that.
Mobile is a thus far mostly unexplored space for Blizzard, so there's a lot of potential there for sure.
Yeah.
They could do, I think it's Clash of Clans is the original, like they could do a WoW or StarCraft in that genre without too much of a hassle. I mean, if Game of Thrones and Harry Potter can do them, absolutely there's potential there for Azeroth or the StarCraft universe to be there. There's lots of potential for different games to be converted into different genres of mobile games. So we'll see where they go. I definitely think within a few years they're going to have a bigger mobile presence than they do right now.
And if you need controllers, I could almost see them doing Switch. I could see Diablo 3 on Switch being let's test the Switch software. Let's see if we can get something running. And now let's do something on Switch. I get the feeling that Switch is not done. I'm
not a huge fan of consoles personally, but I do understand there's a lot of people who are big fans of them.
It's one platform that Blizzard doesn't have to code for like many phones. They can code for one. So I see the allure, and the Switch is doing a lot of good things with mobile. I've almost bought one a few times.
Yeah. I definitely see why some people like them, just not my thing. But I'm weird, so I can accept that.
Okay, we still like you.
Yeah.
Aw, thank you.
We love you, Medros.
I'm glad to hear that.
We love you so much. Where can people find you on the internet?
I'm all over the place, man. I'm all over the place. Primarily Twitter at Medros. You find the show at All Things Az, and the website is allthingsazeroth.com. In case you're one of the few people who have not heard of the show, we'd love to have you give it a listen and see what you think.
It's a great show. I like it.
Go listen to it.
I agree. However, I'm very biased on the matter.
Wait, are you a host of that?
I think I might have been there once or twice.
Yeah.
Big memories. I may have been medicated. I don't know.
That might explain a lot.
What's funny is the episode that I guested on the first one. You weren't even on there. You were sick or something like that. It was just Toasty Night. It was the All Warrior cast.
Oh, man. When I'm sick, especially if I have a cold, when I pop in after the show, I am well known for doing various voices from WoW. Like, I think the first time I was sick, when I really, my voice was really rough, I did Arthas.
So, the light's vaunted justice has finally arrived.
Illidan.
When they have heard my words.
Some Cthulhu lines.
You are weak.
It was pretty funny. And it's really funny because I also have Frostmourne in my closet.
Nice. Are you the one who cut the wedding cake with Frostmourne?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that picture. I wasn't playing WoW and I saw that picture. I was on my WoW break, and that was a picture that was on Twitter. Nice! See, you've never left me, Medros. You've always been part of my life.
And we walked into Imperial March.
That's awesome.
That's my dream wedding.
And there is Disney snow globes on the cake.
Wow. I can't top that.
Oh my God, Frazley.
There's one picture I'm very clearly lecturing. I don't know why. And then there's a picture of the cutting of the cake.
I saw this in my... Yes, because I saw this in my... I wasn't I was on break from WoW. But I saw this picture. It made the rounds in the geek circles I was in at that time. Nice.
Yeah. To this day, it is mentioned as one of the most memorable things people have ever seen at a wedding.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Pretty amazing.
But I will note, I was not the first person I ever saw to have cut a wedding cake with Frostmourne.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty epic right there.
I like to think so. Quite a memorable wedding.
So, Ali, where can people find... I can't transition.
It's Frostmourne in a closet has you all frazzled.
Yeah, I'm just all looking at these Frostmourne.
I've grown to be accustomed to not hear the whispers as often.
That would explain a lot.
But Frostmourne still hungers.
It does. I do hear it sometimes, especially when I have good food in my office. Yeah, it has a place up there eventually.
Nice.
Just need to get around to laying out the office better.
Yeah.
If people are looking for whispers of Ali, where can they find you?
There's some bad joke in there, but you can find me on Twitter at Ali_K. You can find my show Dungeon Fables at Dungeon Fable, singular because the S was taken because someone's a jerk. Yeah, Dungeon Fable comes out every Sunday, and it's good, and you should listen to it.
Absolutely, and find out more about dungeons. And
next week is Sunken Temple.
Ooh, that is a great temple.
I haven't been back there in ages.
Well, I'm going to go this week. It's changed a lot since the old days, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, less labyrinth. I'm back at my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Gnomergon. Yeah! Which means it's time for a quick rundown of news. There's a lot of great stuff coming out in the 8.1 PTR. Like in 8.1, they'll be adding a Legion LFR solo queue. That's really cool. A great way to go for transmog and go after some of those rare drops. It sounds like it'll be similar to the Mist of Pandaria solo queues that they have. The hotfixes as of October 4th, the alchemy item adjustments, the potions like the Potion of Rising Death and Potion of Bursting Blood have had their requirements changed. There are class tuning buffs that happen on October 2nd, and Blizzard has posted about upcoming Azerite armor improvements. Blizzard has acknowledged the issues with Azerite armor, and they said that there'll be more armor available. They're looking at probably emissary rewards, and they're saying that the scale will go up to 370. They're going to be adding another outer ring with spec-specific trait options. They'll be adding new traits in Tides of Vengeance, and they said that all gear in Season 2 will include 5 rings. And they're also making Azerite armor from emissaries be beyond level 370. And the community has found out that the dungeons give more loot when it's above a plus 10 keystone, and they also found a way to get a new keystone. Outside of World of Warcraft directly, Blizzard has a sneak peek of the online merchandise sale for BlizzCon, so I'm hoping for another Hawaiian shirt or an ugly Christmas sweater. The sale will start on October 11th for people that own a ticket or the virtual ticket. And then Apple has 4 new books that are free curriculum. It's called the Everybody Can Create, and they cover music, video, photography, and drawing. They are project guides, and there's a ton of lessons inside of each book. They're free, and they've been used by schools, so this is a fun way just to see what tools are used for. I know it's just for Apple, but it's fun to find inspiration and find ways to encourage using the tools that we have in front of us. And then Minecraft will be adding another version, so we had adventure mode, story mode, creative mode. Well, now we will be getting the dungeon crawling mode. So it is a spin-off that will be coming out next year, currently only for PC. I could not find who the developer is for it, because I know Telltale was the developer for story mode, and I hope Mojang keeps the story mode going, even if Telltale goes out of business. And then this one's kind of interesting. So Google has a new project called Project Stream, and they're going to be getting into game streaming and stuff like that. The game that they're testing will be Assassin's Creed Odyssey. As someone who put a lot of time and money into OnLive, I'm a little skeptical, but we'll see what happens. I just know there's a lot of latency. When Sony bought Gaikai and then bought OnLive, made it in PS Now, it was okay for certain games, but even like Assassin's Creed, that's a very high impact, high intensity game. I just don't know, but we'll see. The future could be in the cloud. There could be thunderstorms. You know, maybe that would be the perfect thing to have on an episode of Black Mirror. Black Mirror will be having season 5. This is a very creepy, scary show, and it goes over things that are sometimes a little too close to home. Do you remember the one about the thing that went to your kid's brain to kind of see what your kid's going through? What was that one called? Oh, but that episode was creepy. Well, there will be a Choose Your Own Adventure episode of Black Mirror. I heard this on the Daily Tech News Show. And according to EW, there are a lot more of these Choose Your Own Adventure episodes to come from Netflix. We already had it with games. We already had it with books. Remember those Goosebump books? Those were so cool. You can choose your own adventure on now shows, choose your own adventure in games and in books. You can also choose your own adventure for snacks. Michael Haidt and Michael Levine have another episode of the Food and Fury Snack House Edition. Prepare for your well-fed buff and dig in.
It's time to gather your sword and board. Let's enter the kitchen with Food and Fury. 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Snacksaroth Edition, where we deliver you a war-forward snack each week with enough buffs to help you with your battle for Azeroth. Whether you've made roasted boar meat or you've conjured a mage table, we welcome you to Food and Fury. This is Snacksaroth Edition, Episode 7. I'm Michael Haidt. Joining me today, the legend, the druid, the PvP machine, Mike Levine. Hello.
Hey, Food fam. Good to have you back. Glad to be back. Let's get rolling, Mike.
So, Mike, with BlizzCon around the corner, and of course the pod before the storm, there's one piece of news that kicks you in the old nostalgia bucket. It's a force of evil, a force of destruction. And although it has its merits, it might be difficult for you to say, stay a while and listen.
Are you talking about Diablo?
No, Mike, I'm not talking about Diablo. I'm talking about classic WoW servers. I'm talking about 2 mysterious cloak statues with red eyes and swords at the ready at a gate that says open for business to drown our orcs. Whether you're at the con or conning on the couch, you're about to get the golden opportunity to take this hippogriff to 88 miles per hour.
You know, Mike, that brings me back in time, man. I can remember being on my druid, ready to take on Lucifron and being an essential part of the raid.
Oh yeah, buddy? Did you get to pull that boss?
Well, not exactly. I did have the responsibility of casting Mark of the Wild, though.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and did I mention it was for everyone in the raid? But, Mike, that's not all. I waited for people to shout out, "Innovate."
That's it?
Then I clicked on the blue lightning bolt, and it was pretty epic, man. Someone's got to carry the raid.
I bet you were a force to be reckoned. Wait, are those cloth healing pants?
Stop asking about the pants, Mike.
But, Mike, it's not all about the pants. We can't let Anaheim have all the goodies. We got something in store for the denizens of Azeroth who aren't traveling this year. So before we get that mage water and mage food bubbling outside of Molten Core, let's give the people a snack worthy of Snacksaroth. We've got some snacks in the guild kitchen ready to hand out for the virtual ticket holders and after the con when people are fighting off that con plague.
But, Mike, what will the couch con people snack on?
So before you go mat farming in the Swamp of Sorrows for alchemy, we got the elixir for your woes.
51-point plan on my talent trees?
No, my hybrid friend. We don't need to balance 3 talent trees. We only need to balance the delicious crunch and briny goodness of oven-fried pickle chips. This recipe won't require you to go back and respec for those bad decisions, so stand up tall. Be proud of those cloth healing pants, my feral friend, even if you don't have any bag space to hold on to that new loot. This snack will help you go time walking before the invasion of the Burning Crusade. If we could somehow harness the lightning like a shaman, channel it into a flux capacitor, it might just work. Tonight we're sending you back to the future. Let's take a trip back to 2004.
The party's at the Meaning Stone. The fire resist gear has been equipped, and the Tranquil shot is ready to go. It's not just any pickle, it's kind of a big dill. While everyone is eating a dill-flavored potato chips out of the bag, you're getting fresh, crunchy pickle chips out of the oven, because when it all comes together in that perfect bite, there's no need to hearth and repair.
Faster than recasting Mark of the Wild, you can get this snack prepped. So before you try to get attuned to Molten Core and fall off that chain into certain doom, get those pickle chips prepped and ready to go.
Mike, it's crunch time. Fried pickle crunch time. That's why each week we will be boosting your cooking skill with one recipe for success. You can always find the recipe and more at our website at foodandfury.com. Let's get rolling, Mike. What do we need?
All right, you're going to need some panko breadcrumbs, some fresh dill, some melted butter, some garlic powder and cayenne pepper, some salt and pepper, regular flour, 2 eggs, a cup of pickle slices, and your favorite dipping sauce. And of course, for a full detailed list of ingredients, hop on over to the show notes section or on our website at foodandfury.com.
Okay, so I have my mats. What am I going to do, Mike?
All right, so first you're going to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Now you're going to grab a large baking sheet with some parchment paper. In a small bowl, stir together your breadcrumbs, your dill, your melted butter, your garlic and cayenne, and season it with a little salt and pepper. Now, grab a second bowl. Just add your flour. In a third bowl, you're going to beat together your eggs with a fork or a whisk. Now, start working in batches. You're going to take some pickles, put them in a flour, then dip them in eggs, and then toss them in the panko mixture until they're fully coated. Place those pickles on a prepared baking sheet and bake until golden and crispy for about 15 minutes in the oven. Now all you need to do is grab that dipping sauce because it's time to dig in.
And if you want to go heroic, get a package of ranch dip and mix it with 16 ounces of sour cream or Greek yogurt.
And if you want to go mythic, because some of you want to go mythic, here's what you do. Equip some fire resist gear and get yourself some blue cheese salad dressing and serve it with your favorite hot sauce on the side. Serve it along with some cut up celery sticks and some carrots, because that, my friends, is worthy of a Molten Core run. All right, my friend of the Grummels, so I think that's going to do it for our Food Buff for All. With a little prep time before you log on, you can enjoy this crunchy, briny, salty, oh so delicious snack that will make you want to keep crunching for more. If you get a chance, check out our food and cooking podcast, Food and Fury. This week on Food and Fury, we're bringing another type of fire, creme brulee. We have our torches ready to go. You can find this show, social media, and this recipe and many more at foodandfury.com. If you get a chance, give us a shout on iTunes, even if your blood runneth blue. And of course, a big thanks to the one and only gnome that has Horde street cred, Frazley.
Tell me, future boy, who's war chief of the Horde in 2018?
Sylvanas Windrunner?
Sylvanas Windrunner? The Ranger General of Silvermoon? Then who's Vice President Anduin Lothar?
Whoa, calm down, Doc.
At least we still have the Dragonflight.
For the Horde.
For the Alliance.
And for the food. And for me and for Mike, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael and Mike. Fried pickles. I love pickles. Whenever someone at my table doesn't want their pickle and gives it to me, I can't resist. But now that I've eaten, what time is it?
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. So Con Before the Storm, we're on the World of Podcast panel with Ali and Medros and so many other awesome podcasters. But World of Podcasts could have only happened because of medieval times. And if you want to attend medieval times way over at BlizzCon, Con Before the Storm has worked with them to get a discount for you. I've been to the one in Orlando multiple times, loved it. So visit the Con Before the Storm Discord to learn more. I've got a link in the show notes. Or you can also go to discord.gg/conbeforestorm. And when you're there, say hi to Perfect Nomad. But if you can't make it to BlizzCon and you want a virtual ticket, our friends Berserker and Navox have a contest to help you win a virtual ticket. It is the Unshackled Fury BlizzCon virtual ticket giveaway. Check it out on episode 37 of the Unshackled Fury. You can find details there and have a great time listening to a great episode. And then once you have your virtual ticket, Blizzard has released a BlizzCon viewing party booklet. So this would be perfect for either an in-person viewing party or one even online. Because like with different things, you could be online. It'd be kind of cool. A podcast that was online with people remotely. I should do that. Oh, I have! Nice! But yeah, there are snack recipes, sketch tutorials, BlizzCon bingo cards, esports rackets, and a lot of trivia. And I love trivia. I'm not good at it, but I love trivia. And who is a Pandaren that has gotten to 117 without choosing a faction? Icy Veins, is that you? Yes, that is Double Agent. Double Agent is now at 117, and they have not chosen a faction. That is awesome. And then Wizard and the Bruiser is a podcast that I love to listen to because they go into the history of a lot of different things. They just had an episode on World of Warcraft. You ever heard of that game? Sounds like a great game. I should start playing it. I have not listened to this episode yet, but I've got a friend who's played WoW, and they're listening to it, and they said it's a great episode. And just a reminder, there is 1 week to go for the cosplay exhibition registration at BlizzCon. If you didn't make it into the top 25, I would encourage you to still enter and show off your work. Show off what you've been working on. You'll get to walk the stage at BlizzCon and be cool, be like, I'm a cosplayer. So do it. Come on, do it. When you enter, send me a screenshot of your cosplay. And then Jules Scott has part 3 of To Content Creators with Love. This one is Change is Powerful. I absolutely know this. This week I changed the recording software for FrazlCast, and I also changed my audio editor the past few weeks. I've even changed the show format of the show. Change can be scary, but it can be beautiful. And then have you ever wondered how much money Twitch streamers make? So Jules Scott, the one who just did the article that we talked about a second ago, they retweeted a post by Disguised Toast that goes over what a top Twitch streamer makes. Now, when you listen to this, please don't get jealous, because this person has put a lot of money and a lot of time into what they've been doing, and they've been at it for a long time. And I doubt they started out Twitch to make money. It just came because they put their passion into it. So even if you aren't where they're at right now, don't give up. Keep at it. And if you make a podcast, Spotify has opened up podcast submissions to all. You don't need to be on a special platform to join anymore. You just go and sign up. People I know who have been signing up all week, like Dungeon Fables, like Half Hour Report, Row has Row Maintenance, Hearth Casual, Rolling Restart. So many awesome people have been adding their podcast to Spotify, and typically they've been showing up in a few hours. That can vary based off a lot of different reasons. If you make a podcast, and I hope you do, submit your podcast to Spotify. I've got a lot of awesome listeners on Spotify. Hi, Spotify listeners! I've got something in my teeth. There we go. I got it. Because I want to look my best for Running of the Gnomes 2018. The 9th year returns on October 13th. Wow. That's this weekend. It'll be on Scarlet Crusade US at 7 p.m. Eastern. Donations are open to raise support for the Cleveland Clinic's toy vaccine, a vaccine that can prevent triple-negative breast cancer, which is often hereditary and the most deadly form of breast cancer. And this week, they added Gnome Run t-shirts. I bought one. I don't know if the t-shirts are still going to be open by the time that this is out, but definitely check out Dravi's Twitter because there's a link to the t-shirts there. I don't think I can join the Gnome Run this year. I won't be available, but I've already donated, and I look forward to seeing all your screenshots. So definitely post all of your screenshots, text me, email me, Discord me, message me, WhatsApp me, Snapchat me. Just show me your awesome gnomes that are running for this awesome cause. And speaking of running, I guess I got to run out of here because that's another episode of FrazlCast. There will be no live show on Thursday, October 11th, but FrazlCast 76 will be out on Monday, October 15th, and I will have Ringmaster Kevin from the Dark Moon Herald. That was a fun talk. I cannot wait for you to experience it. And I was also on the Blue Recluse episode 206, Vanilla Beta. Again, had a great time and I had a lot of fun. I came in like a wrecking gnome. It makes more sense on the show. Or no, actually, I don't even know if it makes sense there. It was something that we were talking about before the show. So yeah, I am Frazley and you can find the show at FrazlCast.com. Until next week, be awesome.
Please return Buxley to an upright and locked position. Buxley here to answer your World of Warcraft questions in this edition of Ask Buxley. This question is about flying. Dear Buxley, I can fly all over the place, but I can't fly in the new continents. Why is that? Well, that's because flight masters have government contracts that give them exclusive airspace rights. They even pay mages to cast anti-flying spells across large areas. The flight masters then collect as much money as they can until the contract runs out. It's really quite a racket. They even charge you to go in between places. That's why you can hear the change leaving your pockets when you fly past a flight point you don't stop at, and sometimes they take an extra long way just to charge you more. Even after the anti-flying spells run out, the flight masters will arrange for a series of quests to have you go through just in order to keep people from flying. And some of those quests are pretty tough to figure out, and sometimes no one ever does. That's why you can't fly around near Silvermoon City. Once a spell is lifted and any ongoing quests are completed, you can use one of your own flying mounts and fly wherever you like. Be careful though, because there are scam artists out there. There are many adventurers out there that have thought of this after buying a new mount and realizing as they plummeted to the ground that Kodos really can't fly. Thanks for your question! If you'd like to know what I'm up to every day, follow Ask Buxley on Twitter. If you'd like to catch up on the segments you might have missed, look for Ask Buxley on iTunes.
Flight masters make money, friend! Oh, Ludra the Mage here.
And I'm Ben the Mage.
Okay, I've got my gnome repellent, my anti-radiation injections and slippers because, beatsies, and some ice cream.
Ludra, you're packing up. Where are you going?
I'm heading back to GnomeWorkCon. I figure it's as good a time as any to go in there and just really clean the place out.
Are you sure you can do it alone? I mean, are you even taking your pets with you? And more importantly, why are you doing this?
First off, Ben, my pets always go with me. Second, the gnomes don't really seem to want it back, so I figured I'd create the Battle Pets Clubhouse too in GnomeWorkCon. It's...
You know, this might not be the best plan. Think about it for a moment.
Okay, fine. I'll put on my thinking cap and get my thinking cocoa and think about it.
All right, while Ludra goes over the various aspects of her doomed plan, make sure to check out Battle Pets episode 131, Interrupting Panda, where we talk about boss battles, ball, and, surprisingly, D&D.
Okay, I see where you're going with this, and I know what to do. Now, I know you're lactose intolerant, but I grabbed some more ice cream, so you can have some too, because you clearly want to go with me.
Of all the time that you had to think about this, that's what you came up with?
Yes,
you are a smart thinker. Let's go.
Welcome to the Frazley Report, a short news report by me, Frazley, the awesome gnome, to deliver your World of Warcraft news. So there's been a lot of exciting BlizzCon news this week. The first bit is that the schedule for this year is now out. Diablo and StarCraft 2 get What's Next panels, and even though I may joke with Michael from the Blue Recluse, a StarCraft podcast got a panel as well. The Pylon show will be live at BlizzCon as a panel. I just hope we don't see another box this year. That was a disappointment. So then also, they announced that WoW Classic will have a demo this year, playable at home. It'll be playable from the 2nd to the 8th. We have found out that there is a limited test of a new device to experience BlizzCon virtually in a new way. It is called BlizzCon 9D. A few extra dimensions just because. So we can experience BlizzCon live from our house. Smell the BO. Experience the sounds. Get the sickness. I have it in the studio right now. Let's put it on and see if it's working. Whoa. Oh, wow. It's getting ready for the Orange County Auto Show. Oh, that's so cool. It's working right now. Wait. How am I here? Oh, a vending machine. I wonder if they have a Hot Pocket. Okay. Oh, no, I don't have any money. I can't buy this Hot Pocket. So the one thing that this BlizzCon 9D won't have, you cannot buy things and you can't eat things with this. So make sure to have food ready. Hey, you over there, a custodian. Hi, how are you doing today? Wait. Oh, I understand why. Look at my arms. I'm a robot. That explains why this person ran away screaming. Okay. Wow, this is going to be really cool. A really cool way to experience BlizzCon. Let me see if I can ride the escalator. Yay! This is fun. I got escalators. Woo! There's an elevator. Wait, no. Azeroth Roundtable told me about elevators. I will never take them again. Elevator, stay there. Okay, well, I guess it's time for me to head back to the studio because there's really not much here. I mean, the whole convention center is closed. Wow, that is going to be a really cool way to experience BlizzCon. And I am one of the first people to ever try this. So check your email if you have access to this. It's going out to a limited number of people, and they will be sending out these devices this month to be at your house in time for the event. Should be a lot of fun. Wait a second. Someone stole my wallet! I guess you get pickpocketing too. Oh, well. This has been the Frazley Report. Until next time, be awesome.
Are you getting ganked at max level?
Are you finding yourself lost in BGs?
Is your age greater than your PvP rating?
Do you find yourself being pounded harder than Sea-Doo at BlizzCon?
If the answer is yes, then don't wait another minute and listen to the self-proclaimed professionals. Download Technically PvP Podcast now.
Our informative and lengthy podcasts are available 24/7 on your app of choice to help with all of your PvP needs.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
Want more awesomeness every week? Visit weeklyawesome.com. Weekly podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.